Okay, for any nonprofit, right, the mission is everything. But what if you could just supercharge that mission? I'm talking about saving a ton of hours and amplifying your reach, all without needing some huge budget. Well, that's exactly what AI promises. And in this explainer, we're going to show you the simple, powerful, quick wins that can make this a reality for your organization, like today.
But let's be honest for a second. When you hear AI, what comes to mind? Probably these super complex, crazy expensive systems that feel like they're from another planet, totally disconnected from your nonprofit's reality, right? And that thought right there is usually the biggest hurdle. It stops so many incredible organizations from even dipping a toe in the water to see what's possible.
Well, that's exactly the mindset we're here to flip on its head. Forget about these massive multi-year projects. We're going to focus on smart, strategic, quick wins. Practical steps that can save you time, boost your growth, and help you nail your mission more effectively. Starting right now.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll get you set up with your AI starter kit, the absolute essentials. Then, we'll dive into how you can supercharge your internal ops and magnify your mission's reach. And we'll wrap up with what I think is the most important part, getting into the right mindset for long-term success. All right, first up, your AI starter kit. Think of it like building a house. You just can't skip the foundation. So before we jump into all the cool and exciting tools, let's nail down the simple first steps that are going to set you up for success.
So, where do you even begin? It's actually a pretty simple three-step process. First, you've got to figure out your opportunities. And a great way to do that is to literally ask an AI to be your free consultant. And yeah, we'll show you exactly how in just a second. Second, just check the tools you already pay for. So many platforms, your CRM, your schedulers, they're baking in AI features you might already have. And last, tweak the advanced settings. Spending just a few minutes telling a tool like ChatGPT about your mission and your voice, it can make a huge, huge difference in the results you get.
Okay, and this is where it gets super practical. That prompt right there on the screen, you can literally copy and paste it. Just think about what you're doing. You're telling the AI, hey, you're now a specialist consultant for my nonprofit. And by giving it your specific context, your mission, the challenges you face, it stops spitting out generic junk and starts giving you tailored, actionable ideas that are actually built for you. Now, as you start playing around with this stuff, trust me, a little bit of structure goes a long, long way. First, create a simple AI policy, just some ground rules for responsible use. Then, start a shared document, like an internal library of prompts that work really well. And hey, remember, it's not all about ChatGPT. For research where you need sources, a tool like Perplexity is amazing. For writing longer stuff, you might find you like Claude better. The key is just matching the right tool to the right job. Okay, so with that foundation in place, let's move on to part 2, supercharging your internal operations. This is where AI really starts to give you back your most precious resource, your time. I mean, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? It's the classic before and after. On the one hand, you've got the old way, mountains of paperwork, which really means hours and hours of slogging through manual research. And on the other, the new way. AI just synthesizes all of that stuff into real insights basically instantly. Think about doing funder research or trying to track legislation. What used to take you hours can now literally take seconds. Here's another way to think about it. AI is like your free, on-demand consultant. Seriously, before you spend a single dime, you can ask it to audit your website for accessibility or check a grant proposal to see if it's persuasive enough. You can even have it scan a vendor contract to look for red flags. Now look, it's not a lawyer, but it's an amazing first line of defense that can save you a ton of time and money. All right, let's talk about those really repetitive tasks. You know the ones. With no-code tools like Zapier, you can build automations without knowing a single line of code. But here's the secret. You have to start small. Don't try to automate your entire organization on day one. Just pick one simple, annoying, time-sucking task, maybe sorting incoming emails. Test your automation with some sample data, make sure it works, and then write down how you did it so the whole team is on the same page. That's it. That small, careful approach is how you build systems you can actually rely on. And the impact of these little automations? It's huge. I mean, just imagine every single inquiry email getting routed to the right person automatically. Imagine ending every single Zoom meeting and poof, there's a perfect summary with action items already drafted. This isn't science fiction, you guys. These are simple efficiencies you can set up right now that free up your team to focus on the work that actually, matters. Okay, so we've sorted out the internal efficiency stuff. Now let's get to the really exciting part, using AI to magnify your mission's reach and connect way more deeply with the people you're there to serve. This is hands down one of my favorite examples because it's so powerful. Think about your biggest piece of content for the year, like your annual report. It is packed with amazing stories, incredible data, but usually you put it out and that's it. It's a one and done deal. But with AI, you can feed it that one document and ask it to spin up a whole campaign's worth of stuff. I'm talking social media posts, blog articles, donor emails. I mean, the possibilities are just endless. And that's the whole point, right? It's all about multiplying your impact, not your workload. That one annual report can now be speaking to people on every single platform you use without burning out your team. It is literally the definition of working smarter. And what about accessibility? I mean, it's so fundamental to a nonprofit's mission, and AI just makes it easier than it has ever been. We're talking minutes to generate accurate subtitles for a video, translate your website into a bunch of different languages, or create good alt text for your images. And look, this isn't just some technical box-ticking exercise. This is about making sure that every single person, no matter their ability or the language they speak, can connect with the work you do.
And you can take this even a step further. You can create your own custom AI bots that are trained specifically on your organization's knowledge. Imagine having a little bot that helps your team draft new grant proposals using the exact language from your most successful grants. Or a bot that can answer all those common questions from new volunteers, just based on your handbook. With the tools we have today, this is way more doable than you probably think.
And that brings us to our final, and honestly, probably the most important section. Look, the tech is powerful, for sure, but it's the approach you take that's going to truly unlock its potential for your organization. So here's the secret. You have to think like a scientist. Instead of making one giant risky bet on AI, just run a bunch of small, safe experiments. You can use a simple tracker like the one you see here. So maybe your pilot idea is, let's use AI to write some social media posts. Your goal is to increase engagement. And the result? Maybe you see a 15% bump in likes. This way, you're using data to learn what actually works for your organization before you go all in. And that right there, that is the single most important thing to take away from all of this. Success with AI, it isn't about having a giant budget. It's all about having a test and learn mentality. It's about building a culture of curiosity, where a little experiment that fails isn't seen as a failure at all. No, it's just valuable data that points you toward what you should try next. So I'll just leave you with this final question to chew on. Forget about drafting some big, fancy 5-year AI strategy. Just think about this coming week. What is one small, repetitive, low-risk task that your team does over and over again? Because starting right there, with that one small win, that could be the first step toward completely transforming how your organization achieves its mission.